Okay, so I have 6 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to do about 6 tablespoons of flour. You know me, Mama Michelle does not measure. So I'm going to start here. You can always add more. I'm just going to whisk this in. Definitely enough flour. I meant to add in my Poblano peppers before I did this. I'm going to throw in just a little bit more butter because I need to add my poblanos in. Let's dump in some of these poblanos. These came from my garden. All right, I'm gonna have to add in a couple more tablespoons of butter because I screwed up and I forgot to put the poblanos in before I started adding the flour. So we're gonna add a little bit more butter in here just to kind of add a little bit more liquid in here. So on a side note, I have some chicken thighs that I pressure cooked. You can cook your chicken however you prefer. You can use whatever type of meat you prefer. I just happened to use 2.5 pounds of chicken thighs, and I threw them in my pressure cooker. I cooked them up with just a little bit of water and some all-purpose seasoning, and now I have them set aside and all cut up and ready to go. But right now we're just making the sauce. So on a side note, what we're going to make now is a homemade pico de gallo. Normally I would use fresh lime juice in this, but I don't have fresh lime juice. So I'm going to have to use a little bit of my bar lime juice, which has a little bit of sweetness to it. So I'm not going to add much. I don't want to make it taste gross, but just to add a tiny bit of lime flavor. So fresh tomatoes, I've diced these up. These also came from my garden. So I love pico on top of any type of a Mexican dish, tacos, enchiladas, burritos, any of those things. So we're just going to use, I should have just used that bowl. We're just going to use all of my tomatoes. And I don't like a lot of onion, so we're going to use some onion. That's good. I guess we did use all of it, huh? It was just a couple of really small onions that I had. And this is jalapeno, also from my garden. I am a wuss with spice, so I'm not going crazy on that. I'm just using a tiny bit. And then this is fresh cilantro. I love cilantro. I'm going to add a good amount of that in there. Just going to do a little touch of that. Okay. And now we'll do some salt and pepper. If you haven't seen my posts that I did, these things are flippin' adorable. I got these off the TikTok shop. And all the things on there are crazy, stupid cheap. So check it out. If you think they're cute, they come with a little carrying caddy. All right, so I'm just going to give this a mix. I am making enchiladas. I call them enchiladas. Some people get very finicky and they call these burritos because I like to use flour tortillas. I know authentic enchiladas are corn tortillas. That's fine. Use what you want. I prefer flour tortillas. It's just what I like. I have some chicken stock. This I have 28 ounces of. It's water. We're going to start with part of that, maybe about half of it. So I didn't have chicken stock, so I used water with the Better Than Bouillon chicken base. I love that for my chicken and noodles, so I used that. I just used some of that base with 28 ounces of water, and so this is where we're at, is we're going to start with this. I can always add in more. It's thickening up here, which is what we want. We've got a good roux started, kind of a thickness that we're getting going here. So I am going to add more of this chicken stock. Thin it up just a little bit. Again, not adding all of it because you can always add more, but you can't take it back after you've dumped it in. So, and I'm going to be adding sour cream to this, so I don't want to make this really thin. So we're going to see where this is at first. And so, because of the chicken bouillon, that adds salt. I'm not adding salt to this. But if you've seen my channel, you know I do onion and garlic powder to everything. All right, onion and garlic powder. Let's do some minced onion, because why not? And like I said, I'm not adding salt at this point. I could add salt later, but I don't want to oversalt because of that chicken bouillon. And I'm also going to be adding some taco seasoning, and so I don't want to oversalt. So I'm going to taste this before I add any type of a salt. Okay, still pretty thick. And add a little bit more chicken stock. We're going to turn this down to medium. Still pretty thick, which is great, because as I throw this over the enchiladas in the oven, it's going to thin out a bit. So I want this to be decently thick. I would say that's a couple tablespoons. We don't measure a lot here, so you're seeing what I'm putting in. Each of those scoops is easily probably a couple tablespoons. So I'm guessing that's estimate of 6 tablespoons. So we're going to do this, and then we're going to taste it. All right, so I've got that mixed up. It's thinned out because of the sour cream. Let's taste it. It's damn good. I like that. Maybe a little bit of salt and pepper. Garlic powder. This is the beauty of cooking, is you just add things in based on what you like. Salt. My pepper comes out fast. All right, give it a whisk. Okay, I am going to turn that off. And now let's move on to our chicken mix. So sauce is good. I'm happy with the sauce. We're going to leave that alone. I'm going to save this sour cream for on top. All right, chicken. Okay, here is my chicken. Like I said, this is 2.5 pounds of chicken thighs that I pressure cooked. You take whatever meat you want and you cook it however you prefer, but I just took this. Pepper hit me in the back. I just took my chicken, cooked it up with a little bit of water, a little bit of all-purpose seasoning, and so this is ready to go, all cut up. So I'm going to take this, and I didn't add much for salt when I was cooking it because I knew I was doing this. I have taco seasoning, 25% less sodium. I debated adding in some like black beans, corn into my mix. But I didn't want my kids yelling at me. So, okay, luckily my chicken stock didn't come out, so I'm going to add just a little bit of that chicken stock, not a lot. I have a can of Rotel. I do mild. This is the tomatoes and chilies. I'm putting that into my chicken mix. My green chilies, those are going in my sauce. Forgot to add those earlier. Knew there was something missing, folks. I knew there was something missing. My green chilies, crucial. I love these because they add flavor, but they don't add spice to your food. Got the chicken all mixed up. Let's whisk in those green chilies, which is what Mama intended anyway. You could add jalapenos in here if you want to add some more kick. I've got a little bit of jalapeno in my pico de gallo, but I'm a wuss bag, so I'm not going to add any here. But you could add some jalapeno into your mix, into your sauce, whatever you prefer. Red pepper. All right. All right. Sauce. One thing I have learned is I started putting a little bit of sauce in the bottom of my pan so that the enchiladas do not burn and get crusty and hard in the bottom of your pan. I've learned to add just a little bit of sauce. Spray it and just a little bit of sauce. All right, gonna do that. We're good. Alrighty, so I've got some cheese to mix into the enchilada mix. I'm gonna dump the whole bag because they like it cheesy in my house. They like it cheesy or they complain. Okay, chicken. Lots of cheese. Whole bag of cheese. Use the kind of cheese you want. You could add pepper jack if you want to add some kick. I just added the Great Value because Mama's cheap Mexican Fiesta blend cheese. Okay, got that. This cheese is for on top. Most of them I'm going to do with the regular tortillas. I have a couple of low carb ones I'm going to do for me. So I've got some chicken. It does not have to be all fabulous. Just tuck it, roll it over, put it in the pan. And I like to bake these for about 20-25 minutes because I like the tortilla to get nice and soft underneath the sauce. I know my husband does not like the sauce on top of his, so I'm going to try to remember not to put the sauce on top of his. He likes his to be crispy with a side of the sauce to put on top on his own. So I'm going to put some of the sauce in a separate dish so that I remember to do that. Okay, there's a little bit of sauce for him for on top of his enchiladas, so I hopefully don't forget. This is also yummy to use for tacos or quesadillas. You can have extra of this in the fridge and make quesadillas with this. I love to take whatever leftovers I have and cheese and then make a quesadilla. So this would make an excellent taco salad, tacos, all of the things. Okay, now I'm going to put some sauce on all of them, except for a couple. Okay, the enchiladas are covered. If you don't like sauce, you don't have to do sauce, but we like them where they're really saucy because the tortillas, they're going to absorb a lot of the sauce, and we like a lot of cheese. It's messy, but it's fine. The messier, the better, right? Tastes good when it's messy. So I'm going to pop this into my air fryer. I've got it set at 425, so I'm going to go ahead and set it for 20 minutes. My enchiladas are out of the oven. They're a little dark. I did them at 425 for 20 minutes. Probably could have done them a little bit less, but it's fine. They're not burnt, but I wanted to make sure the tortillas were nice and cooked. Another great addition would be shredded lettuce on top of this. Some places do that. Pico. I'm obsessed with pico. Extra cilantro. Just a little bit more. There you go. If you had a fresh lime, this would definitely be the time to squeeze it over top. That would be immaculate fabulousness. This is what it looks like. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. And like I've said before, all of my full videos are always on Facebook and YouTube. Please share, subscribe, all the good stuff.